Now, as I would like to say, the main event. So now we're going to present what we call the Honor Flight Long Island tribute journals to each of our veterans. So let us tell you a little bit about this tradition. This tradition started back in 2012. And we decided we wanted to add something else to our program. And so we have a couple of different team members that contribute to putting together these journals. And so veterans, you may remember early in the morning on flight day, you had to stand in front of the American flag, take your photo, hold your name tag underneath your chin, like you were getting a mugshot in the precinct. But no, that was so our volunteers could identify you when they put these tribute journals together. So it all starts with our photographer, Mark Chamberlain, who takes several hundred pictures during the flight and does an amazing job at that. He then comes back, edits, and checks all those photos and shares them with a small team, a very small team of 4 people. And for this particular flight, that team was led by Nancy Wagner, who put the main template together. And just to be clear, what you're going to see very shortly, these are not pictures of everyone's the same for the whole flight. These are personalized tribute journals for each one of our veterans. And again, it's through the hard work of all the team members that put this together and that create this program, and it takes a lot of work. In the back of the journal, you'll see that these journals are sponsored by Honor Flight Long Island. We also do accept other sponsors, so family, audience members, you take a look in there, and if there's someone who may want to help sponsor and defray costs from a future flight, give us a call, talk to us. We're going to present those journals by order of conflict. So we'll call out the names. We're going to read a brief bio, and then we just ask the veterans to raise our hand, and then they raise their hand. The volunteers will come over and present them with their tribute journals. All right, so we're going to start with World War II. We mentioned earlier, Mr. John Leone. Mr. Leone enlisted at the age of 17. His father had to sign giving permission. He went to boot camp at Sampson, New York, which tells us he was in the Navy. After spending months in Rhode Island, Mr. Leone contracted scarlet fever and spent time recovering. This left him with a heart problem and hearing loss. He was aboard the destroyer USS Wood for 6 months, and by that time the war with Japan was over, and all reserve men were put off the ship, and he was discharged. We're happy to have him with us, Mr. Leone. Thank you for your service. Moving on to our veterans who served during the Korean War. Mr. Lawrence Cohen. Mr. Cohen was drafted February '52. He did his basic training in Fort Jackson, South Carolina, and then went on to Seattle, Washington. From there, he was on a ship 12 days. Later, he was in Korea. He was assigned to the 8th Army Truck Transportation, the outskills of Chuncheon. Mr. Cohen went on convoys day and night. He would get 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night, and this went on day after day. He says when you drive at night and you get tired, your eyes start tricking you, and a tree down the road looks like a sniper. He delivered ammo, oil, and gas to many units, including Turkish and Korean ones. During one convoy, Mr. Cohen got to see his brother-in-law, and they stayed together till daybreak. He said it made the trip a little easier. Your presence here makes it a lot easier for us, Mr. Cohen. Thank you for your service. Mr. William Mansfield. Mr. Mansfield enlisted. He said he was nervous. He said battle was stressful. In Korea, he lived in bunkers and sometimes tents. Most times they had hot meals. Every day he looked forward to mail call. Hey, how about that? He wasn't really homesick because he knew he had to stay in Korea, and he accepted it. Mr. Mansfield was given a religious medal by his co-workers. He kept it with him every day, and he still has it today. He says he was almost killed when an artillery shell exploded about 10 feet from him. He was saved by a wall built by farmers. To pass the time, during the day he read whatever was available, wrote letters, and worked on details as they were assigned. Mr. Mansfield, thank you for your service to our country. Mr. Matthew Turnbull, raise your hand please. Mr. Turnbull enlisted in the Navy at the age of 17 after becoming a Sea Scout. He said he liked boats. On his first day, he was bused to Bainbridge, Maryland for boot camp for 6 weeks. He wanted to go to submarines, so he went to New London, Connecticut, but that didn't work out due to him being colorblind. So he went to the Brooklyn Navy Guard to serve the USS Portunus. Mr. Turnbull started off as a seaman apprentice. He worked on refrigeration, lifeboats, engines, and generators. Mr. Turnbull and his crew laid cable from submarine detection on the ocean floor all the way from New England to Florida, Cuba, and the Panama Canal. They would go out to sea for 3 months and back in a week for maintenance. We're happy to have you with us. Mr. Turnbull, thank you for your service. Now we move on to our veterans from the Vietnam War, who served during that same period, starting off with Mr. Samuel Albanese. Mr. Albanese reported about the USS Angler, February 59. This was his first boat right out of sub school. He remembers most about his time there was his initial test drive. He was a brand new crew member, and he knew very little about the workings of the boat. So he was teamed up with someone else, and he was giving them a hand. The diving officer gave the order, dive, and they proceeded to 50 feet. Everything was working well, so they leveled off at 50. Then the diving officer said, proceed to 100 feet. And they went down to 100 and kept going. And then they passed 200. There was a lot of activity going around, he noted, and a lot of orders being given. Finally, they submerged to 300 feet before finally getting up in a bubble and started rising. After they surfaced, he was told by other crewmates about the seriousness of what almost happened, and he realized how important it is to know everyone's job and to react to every situation that arises. We're glad you recovered from that, and we're glad to have you with us today, Mr. Albanese. Thank you for your service. Mr. Andrew Basile. Mr. Basile operated the M107 self-propelled field gun, the 175 millimeter. He believes it was the biggest artillery gun in Nam. He was the chief of one 6-man crew and had to make sure everything was correct before they fired the gun. Obviously it was. He's here with us today. Mr. Basile, thank you for your service to our country. Mr. Roger Brust. Mr. Brust was drafted into the Army in August '67. He reported to Brooklyn, New York. He completed basic training at Fort Jackson, South Carolina, advanced training in Fort Lewis, Washington. Mr. Brust volunteered for NCO School, Fort Benning, Georgia, also known as Shake and Bake School. Then he was sent to Vietnam, where Mr. Brust spent his tour around the very active tri-border area. He was fortunate to not have been injured. We're fortunate to have him with us today. Mr. Brust, thank you for your service, sir. 50-50 is still available over there, by the way. Mr. Byrne is next. Mr. Gerald Byrne. Okay, Mr. Byrne has an interesting story. Him and his twin brothers signed up to become Marines, even though his older brother said he would never make it. After a 14-hour bus ride, the Paris Island drill instructors greeted him with screams, punches, and kicks, demanding that he get off the bus. He said December 6th, boot camp finally came and went, and he was out of there. Mr. Byrne spent 4 years in the Marines, traveling around the world, playing war games with the military of other countries. I'm sure he wasn't playing. After that, it was off to Vietnam, July, March 66, Kilo Company, 3rd Battalion, 7th Marines, 3rd Platoon. He was there for a year. Less than 3 weeks after arriving in Vietnam, he was on Operation Texas, where he didn't think he would live. Luckily, he was not hit. They lost 5 Marines, and many were wounded in those days. Mr. Byrne has been married for 55 years, 2 sons and 2 grandchildren. He's also the author of The Twin Marines in Hell, a story about him and his twin brother in the Marines. We're happy to have you with us, Mr. Byrne. Thank you for your service. Mr. William Byrne. Mr. William Byrne began his service February 20th, 1969 as a central office repairman because he worked for New York Telephone. Since all the stateside openings were filled, he was sent elsewhere. And he was actually sent to support the prisoner chain gang. Fortunately for Mr. Byrne, he met several upstanding lawyers, and one of them found an opening for him at NATO headquarters in Turkey. And next thing you know, he was on a plane to Turkey where he served there. He served there until the separation in February '71. Upon his return to the U.S., he arrived at JFK to the same sneering, jeering fellow citizens that greeted all returning GIs with taunts of things like baby killer. He and his fellow vets began a 10-year wait until their fellow citizens realized they would simply answer the country's call and perform their patriotic duty. We're so happy to have you with us, Mr. Byrne. Thank you for your service. Mr. Franklin Cannata. Mr. Cannata served the United States Army, June 67 to June 70. He spent 11 months in Korea. He was with the 633rd Combat Engineers, utilized multiple vehicle types, including jeeps, trucks, and even bulldozers. His service was actually very heartwarming in that he helped many different people, including churches and orphanages, where he built roads for them. Mr. Cannata, we thank you for your service to our country and our children. Mr. William Cody. Mr. William Cody served in the Marines from 67. Mr. William Cody served in the Marines 67 to 71. Mr. Cody got to Nam in April of 68. His first station in Nam was Camp Carroll, where his assignment was to drive the little ambulance. Then he went to Kalu and Quang Tri, where he ran convoys between the two. After that, he was sent to Vandergrift Combat Base, which used to be a landing zone stud when he first got there. Finally, Mr. Cody was sent back to Dong Ha to get pulled out of the country. Mr. Cody, pleasure to have you with us, sir. Thank you for your service. And Mr. Raymond Cody. Mr. Raymond Cody served United States Navy. He said it was difficult finding employment, and I was draft eligible, so we enlisted in April '61. Both my older brothers were in the Navy, so I knew the Navy was my calling. He went on to the naval training at Great Lakes Training Center, north of Chicago, and he said he was a bit nervous, but he got it done. After returning to Mayport, we were sent to the Caribbean for the John Glenn Rescue Mission in February '62. Wow, how about that? Lo and behold, John Glenn landed right next to our ship. We were famous. Well, I think he was famous, but okay. Pictures of John Glenn in first day stamp covers are still part of his collection. It's wonderful to have you with us, Mr. Cody. We thank you for your service. Mr. Edward Correll. Mr. Correll achieved the rank of third-class petty officer. He worked in supply as a storekeeper. He served at Naval Air Facility Cam Bay and NSA Saigon. While in the country, Mr. Correll made many friendships. One in particular was Dennis DeFiore. They continued their friendship after discharge and for a while through '72. They lost touch until the Welcome Home Parade in New York City in 1983. Mr. Correll saw one USO show in Cam which included Raquel Welch. Young kids, if you don't know who that is, Google it. Mr. Correll remembers his base being attacked in March '68 while he was in the shower. He had to run across the field all wet, okay? Yelling for his guys not to shoot him. Luckily they didn't, and luckily he's here with clothes on. Mr. Correll, thank you for your service, sir. Mr. Ralph DeGroat. Mr. DeGroat was inducted into the Army to Fort Riley, Kansas, and then on to Vietnam. Mr. DeGroat boarded a ship from Oakland, California that took 18 days to get there with a submarine escort. Upon arriving in Vang Tao Harbor, he stayed on the ship and went ashore several days later, which was actually filmed by the Daily News. The worst job Mr. DeGroat remembers was when he had to occasionally pull the large cans out of the latrine and pour kerosene on them to burn the human waste. If anyone wants to know why the Army's burning human waste, it's not military intelligence. Let's start there. All right. He said Vietnam was an experience that he will never forget. He thanks God for his safe return. He was discharged in April of '67. The same year he turned 21. We're thankful to have him with us. Thank you for your service, sir. Mr. Domenic DellAnno. Mr. DellAnno chose to serve his country in the Navy because it too was a family tradition. So he also went to Great Lakes for boot camp. After boot camp, Mr. DellAnno was sent to Bainbridge, Maryland for 1 year to work on computers and was then assigned to the USS Sylvania, a combat supply ship. While on board, Mr. DellAnno traveled to the Mediterranean where he saw Italy, France, Spain, and Malta. He was honorably discharged December '66. We're happy to have you with us. Thank you for your service to our country. Mr. Timothy Duggan. Mr. Duggan was assigned to assorted schools as a medical corpsman. After first 1.5 years, he was transferred to the 2nd Marine Division, Camp Lejeune, and he was assigned to cruises in South America. On return from one of those cruises, after 2 months, he received a new assignment to Cuba during the Cuban Missile Crisis for numerous months. Mr. Duggan, we're honored to have you with us, sir. Thank you for your service to our country. Mr. Edward Edge. Mr. Edge signed up for the Air Force. Delayed enlistment program. He finished his associate's degree, went to boot camp at Lakeland Air Force Base in Texas. Traveling there was the first time he was on an airplane. Boot camp was the hardest 6 weeks of his life, he said. After boot camp, he was off to tech school, Kessler Air Force Base, Mississippi. Near the end of his training, he filled out his dream sheet, thinking he wanted to travel. He ended up serving in Japan, Okinawa, and Hawaii. He applied for early discharge from active duty and was approved, so he came home from California, resumed his engineering education, met the love of his life. 3 months later, Mr. Edge, happy to have you with us, sir. Thank you for your service. Mr. Robert Ewald. Mr. Ewald was drafted in May 70 because he won, in air quotes, the draft lottery when they picked birthdays in November 69. On his first day, he was scared to death, he said. He went to Fort Hamilton, then Fort Dix, basic training, then on to Fort Knox to train in tanks. After AIT, his whole company went to Vietnam, except him and one other guy who was sent to Fort Bliss for red-eye gunner training. He then got orders to report to South Korea on the DMZ at Camp Byrne. Mr. Ewald lived in Quonset huts, which were very cold in the winter and very hot in the summer. He had plenty of guard duty and training. He said he loved the guys in the unit, and the officers were nice too. He was discharged December 71. Mr. Ewald, pleasure to have you with us, sir. Mr. Spiro Farrugia. Mr. Farrugia was one of 9 siblings. He came to New York with his mother and siblings at age 4, where they reunited with his dad. One of his 7 brothers, out of his 7 brothers, 5 of them were drafted in the Army. He was drafted at the age of 19. Mr. Farrugia completed basic in Fort Jackson, then went to California to prepare for deployment to Vietnam. Once in Vietnam, he volunteered to lead the safety of the armored personnel carrier with his unit and entered into the jungle to engage the enemy. They came under heavy fire and launched a full combat mission. Mr. Farrugia said the experience was intense and chaotic, filled with destruction and danger, memories he still finds difficult to talk about. We're happy to have you with us, sir. Thank you for your service to our country. Mr. John Gallagher. Mr. Gallagher enlisted in the Marine Corps in early 70, started boot camp at Paris Island in August of that year. Graduated in November 70, and the very next day, infantry training at Camp Lejeune. February 71, he received his Westpac orders and reported to the 1st Marine Division, Camp Pendleton, California. May of 71, Mr. Gallagher reported to the 3rd Marine Division in Okinawa and volunteered for a special unit called SCAMP. He would later serve on the USS Tripoli, a helicopter carrier with the 2nd Battalion, 4th Marine Regiment near Da Nang, Taipei, Taiwan, Sasebo, Japan, and the Philippines. Mr. Gallagher separated from service August 73. We're happy to have him with us. Thank you for this service, sir.